Assalamu alaikum. Hi everyone, my name's Hebba. I'm 24 years old and I'm a type 1 diabetic. I live in West London. I've lived here my whole life. Hopefully I won't die here. I'm only joking. But yeah, it's very nice to be recording another video. I was so scared and anxious about recording the first one. I recorded it absolutely ages ago. And the response was amazing. I had so much love and so much encouragement and empowerment from it, and I promised to do another one, and here we are. Please forgive my lateness. I'm half Arab, let's just blame it on that. Yeah, so today I wanted to talk about two really important topics, God willing, inshallah. The first one I wanted to talk about was actually carb counting, and there was something that everyone wanted me to talk about as well, and that was the applying for PIP, personal independence payments, and disability living allowance. So the first one is carb counting. Carb counting, for some people or for the average person, literally the logic is behind the name, and it just means to count your carbohydrates. For someone who is trying to gain weight, for example, this could mean increasing your carbohydrates, your daily intake. For someone trying to lose weight, this could be not going past a certain amount of carbohydrates. So for example, someone could say, I'm going to have maximum of 60 grams of complex carbohydrates a day because they're on a diet where they're trying to limit that and increase their protein. For a type 1 diabetic, however, carb counting is literally how we calculate all of our insulin. Insulin is of course a hormone that we have to put into our bodies as diabetics because our pancreas doesn't produce it on its own, or it doesn't produce enough to level out or to manage our blood glucose levels or our sugar levels, as you will hear a lot of us saying. So we're very grateful and blessed, a lot of us, or most of us, everyone I know is very grateful because we live in the United Kingdom and we have the NHS. So if you really fight and if you have good doctors, they will hopefully put you on what you call a Freestyle Libre, and I'm now waiting, God willing, to start an insulin pump where I won't have to do injections. I can just put the ratios that I use and the information that I need to put into a machine, and it will release the insulin over a certain period of time for me. When I get that started, I have the pumps, I've had them for 3 months, I'm just waiting for an appointment to start them. But when I get that and I get started and I get confident, I will definitely post a video for those who would like to see how I'm getting on with that. So carb counting, it's a lot more complicated for a diabetic than it might sound, but I think for a diabetic, after a certain amount of time or a certain level of confidence, it just becomes second nature. So for example, I'll try and do a video at some point as well, showing you, maybe on my stories, showing you different things that we might have to carb count and how we would carb count them. So I attended a Daphne course, which is a diabetes management course, just before lockdown started, so 2020 now, and they taught us about how to accurately carb count. So what I use at home is a digital weighing scales, my phone for a calculator because I'm not very talented in the area of mathematics, not very good at that, and yeah, and my ratios. So ratios, if you had told me to calculate a ratio, to use a ratio when I was at school doing maths, I genuinely probably would have cried. In fact, there are some people that are going to watch this video that probably remember me crying in maths lessons. So so yeah, but in the morning, for me personally, I use a ratio of 1 to 6. This means I have to give 1 unit of insulin for every 6 grams of carbohydrates that I eat. A very easy way to show you how to carb count is if I used a packet of crisps, for example. A Walker's packet of, let's say, cheese and onion crisps, just a normal packet, not a grab bag, just a normal one, is usually 12 grams of carbs. If you divide 12 by 6, it gives you 2. Easy peasy, I give myself 2 units of insulin. For something like cereal or for something like rice or pasta, when I'm at home, I will weigh the pasta or the rice or whatever it is that I'm eating separately to the topping. So if I'm having rice and meat, I will weigh the rice separately before we put the meat on the plate. Of course, being realistic, you're probably thinking that's not always going to be possible, and you're right. So in these situations, we do something called guesstimating, where we guess and use our prior knowledge of carbs and what a plate might look like, as well as certain apps like Carbs and Cows, to work out roughly what we think the carbs that we're eating will equate to. For me personally, I'm at a point in my life where I'm trying to lose a little bit of weight. So I'm not limiting my carbs. I don't not eat carbs, but I'm just trying to moderate the amount of carbs that I'm eating. So for example, I used to eat a lot more carbs than I do now. And I feel better for not eating so many carbs personally, but for everyone it's going to be different. But if I was having rice, for example, let's say I wanted to have only 30 grams of carbs of rice, I can go onto the Carbs and Cows app, and there are loads of apps, but that's the one I use, and I can type in 30 grams of carbs, or I can look at the pictures of the rice and it will tell me which one is 30 grams, and that way I can decide, okay, so I only need, let's say, 100 grams or 200 grams of rice on my plate. That's not accurate, so that's just me explaining how it would work. This also, by the way, is necessary for things like coffee or drinks. So if I wanted to have a regular glass of Coke, which I personally just choose not to do because the sugar is ridiculous, unless my sugar levels are low, you have to look at the milliliters and how many carbs are in 100 milliliters. So I think for Coca-Cola, it's like 11 grams of carbs for 100 milliliters. I can't really remember, but I'm pretty sure it is that. If you get those tiny cans of Coke from the co-op, 150 milliliters is about 15 grams of carbs. So when I'm having a low sugar level, I tend to turn to those. I'm trying to get better at having things like bananas. I'm trying to actually improve that as well, especially when I'm going to the gym. But yeah, carb counting, it's a lot to get your head around. It can be very long. For some diabetics, this can be quite mentally draining, and for some probably a little bit traumatic, because if you're already borderline eating disorder, or if you really struggle with weight and food, having to literally see how much of everything you're eating can be quite draining. So just always be kind when you meet a diabetic, especially if they're telling you that they're trying really hard to improve things, because it can be very difficult. The second thing I wanted to touch on, and this is very short and sweet. This is a bit of a whistle-stop tour of everything, so I apologize. And again, if you have questions, or if you'd like to know more, or if you want me to do a video breaking things down or showing examples of carb counting, please do comment. I'd be more than happy to do that. I love trying to help people understand diabetes. It's a very complicated illness, but you can still do lots of amazing things. But the second thing was about my PIP claim. So alhamdulillah, thank God, I personally won my PIP tribunal in May. Just to let you know, it was a 2-year battle to even get to the tribunal. I was very anxious. I was very nervous. I actually cried in the hearing room, because I just felt very overwhelmed, and it did feel quite intimidating, and it felt a bit like an interrogation. And for those of you who know me, I'm quite strong-willed and I can hold my own, but you just don't know what they're going to ask you. My advice to anyone who is umming and ahhing, or not sure if they should do it, my advice is always do it. Not just for diabetes, but any illness that you think is not identifiable physically, aka if it's an invisible illness or a hidden disability, my advice is still go for it, because what I was advised by a solicitor was that you have to keep going. They're going to keep saying no, but you have to keep going until it gets to a tribunal. At the tribunal, it's your chance to talk about how your illness affects you. And to be fair, 2 out of 3 of the people that were at my hearing were very nice. It was actually the expert on disabilities, who is not very trauma informed and not very kind, and quite hard. He asked me things about my personal life. They asked me about things like past relationships, and what activities I like to do, and how do I make friends. things like that, which didn't actually hold any correlation or any relevance to my disability, to my illness. But at the end of the day, if you can also get a free representative, a free legal representative, which is something my family had advised me and told me about actually, you're more likely to win, because they can see, okay, this person has taken on the case, which means they believe that you have a case here. I was awarded daily living allowance and they backdated it. So yeah, it's worth it. I'm always happy to help anyone who would like any support with things like this. Get as much evidence as you can. I got letters from therapists, I got letters from the hospital. They're always, if you've got a good endocrinologist, they're always very happy to help you with things like this. I got a GP letter. What else did I get? I think that was everything, but I had loads of appointment letters for the specialist departments that I had been to. I had letters that detailed all the medication. I had A&E letters where it said this is how many I think I had 27 attendances in 12 months at one point during the lockdown, because I was just in and out for kidney infections. So just gather all your evidence, submit it. You've got a few weeks between the time that you submit that long form and the time that they send you a response and give you an assessment date. You do have time, so collect all your evidence. Trust me, it is worth it. And I am now set to have that until 2023, I believe it says on my letter. And they backdated it to January 2021. So come 2023, they'll reassess me and make sure that I'm basically receiving the right amount. So definitely go for it. Don't be intimidated and don't feel disheartened when they say no. If I'm honest, every time I got a no, I just thought, oh, I'm going to keep going anyway, keep appealing it, and you will get there. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and yeah, let me know what you would like to see next. Thank you so much. Bye.